Okay, so I'm working, on the canvases. I prepared already three, including cutting and wrapping and applying white gesso. Just, gesso by definition, it's kind of like, so there is this one, and the two of these. And I'm working on the large one, but I ran out of the white gesso, so I'll use black gesso. And also probably ran out of this as well, but I can use other acrylic colors. It's mostly primary, layer that is needed in order for, the other layers not to submerge in the material. And although I cut, unfortunately, I cut, it's like small cut, in the canvas. So it was the Japanese knife. So hopefully, I will still be able to sell it someday. Do you think that, now it's, if you're painting, there are like 2-3 centimeter cut. Actually, maybe I can, apply like a patch, but it will still be visible, I guess. So maybe people will not buy it. I don't know. It's a shame, but they don't buy none of my paintings anyway. Because the Israelis don't let me trade nothing because I'm a slave. But one day maybe I'll be able to sell it. Hopefully, the important thing, of course, is that it will be in effect for the symbolic meaning, and I'm sure that it will be like the heroes will not mind the cut. I'm certain about it. I always remind myself that these things should have and could have and have been working for my predecessors, that some of them lived in Earth with much less material supply than I have now, even when I'm under arrest. Presumably, in ancient times, they still could have painted, even the cave paints, from 50,000 years ago, when they are more than, the technological availability and acuity is much, that you can see in some of these cave paintings, are much higher than what is needed for the symbolic language. So it's not really a problem. But you don't need to be, too picky about, every, small, imperfection, in the material. So I decided to create, again, there will be two pairs of red color canvases that will replace what you see here right now. Actually, these two are not from yesterday, but other two, but these are the ones that you already know. So the idea is now to go, use the duality of the pairs to signify two different populations. Ones that have the neros in their body and ones that don't have the neros. And you can signify it by black and white. You paint the neros in black and white, so it will not be part of the show, but part of the, and with black, out, like a black over red, that the outing is black. It might sound like, I don't know, maybe non-intuitive, but if you see it, actually it looks, many of the the rules, when you actually watch it, examples, you almost immediately understand why it's like that, because these rules are also, many of the rules are actually followed by humans, in their day-to-day symbolic, depiction, visual depiction of things. So it's not in completely alien. It's not it makes a lot of visual sense, many of the rules. So this is, one of it. In black, it looks, when you actually see it, it looks like, what it's supposed to mean, which means the absence of something. And so, of course, those that have the neros in their bodies, we will do the electrolysis effect, which means, so there will be H2O molecule, and this is pretty simple. The good thing about it is hydrogen contains only one proton and electron, and oxygen have only 6 or 8 or 8. No, carbon 8, 6. No, 6 is oxygen is 6. Yes. So it's not that much of a work, the 92, 94, 96, atoms that, the uranium that, you need to paint so many of this the rays of the electrons, you see, behind me. This is really, it takes you so long, so it will be much quicker. So it will be H2O to H2O2, not to H2 and O, because that's how the electrolysis happens, and we would like to electrolysis the body or bodies. Hopefully this will be a quick quick adjustment, painless, but I mean there is afterlife. I mean maybe if you didn't get the memo, hell exists, and it's basically what you know from like your childhood, the way that the people told you like when you were a children. It's basically like that. Yeah, yes, yeah, heart, yes, the demon, devil, yes, torture, yes, basically just like that. Yes. And as I said many times, I mean, after all that you've seen already, I mean, the existence of hell is actually not that big of a deal, like, I mean, technologically speaking. I mean, you yourself are you're almost like in a technological level that, I mean, will allow you to create like virtual worlds, you know. So, I mean, it's just another virtual world, like after this one. Maybe this one is also a virtual world. Many people actually ask that, I mean, now, I mean, following the many discoveries, I mean, kind of shaking like their physical understanding of reality. So they say, is it all a simulation? So the answer is, what does it even matter? It doesn't mean anything at all. Like, I mean, the important thing is that you have free will and that there is good and evil, and that you should do good, and if you do evil, you are punished. This is the important stuff, and this is correct whether it's a simulation or not, and whatever you define as simulation. You have free will, yes. There is good and evil, yes. You are expected. God created the world, yes. God is still here watching you, yes. God expects you to choose good over evil, yes. If you choose evil, you are punished in the afterlife, and also many times you are punished in this life as well, but not always, because it's impossible to do it in this world, always. Yes. Yes. So yes, hell exists. So they will be punished in hell. Hopefully, we will clean, like, I mean, the H2O very quickly from their body, which will be very helpful in, you know, solving this issue. Now, with regards to the people to the red ones that they don't have, like, I mean, their, you know, neurons in their body. But I mean, I still want to signify that they are slaves of the Israeli, you know, intelligence system. But this is probably done with with this symbol, like the symbol of the bicycle. That I still not sure, like, is it like a robot or a microbe or what's even the difference? But certainly, I mean, everybody that they're slaves are affected with that. So, and of course, I mean, so now, like, I mean, so the other one will be kind of like, you know, the negative. Like, I mean, I will remove this from their body, because this one was not in effect for them, because you see, you know. You see the existence of the neurons, and they don't have neurons in their body. So it will remove it from their body, and maybe also give them another bonus. And I don't think of something that, if you have any idea, I mean, please do. I mean, it will take you a couple of hours, because you need to work on it's slow. I mean, you know, you need to, as you see, primers, and then another primer with the color, and so it takes time. Even if it's simple, if it looks simple, I mean, because of its opened, it takes several hours, like, to prepare to create a paintings. Like, I mean, it's minimum, because of, you know, the issue with the map. But I mean, the good thing, as I said, is that, I mean, even if it doesn't like look very, you know, I know it doesn't look very fancy, because it's simple. It's mostly simple. But I mean, the good thing is that, I mean, by experience, I can also already tell you that it might look just I mean, you know, like something that you can draw very quickly on the paper, but it lasts much longer. Like, I mean, it's tremendously more robust, and like, I mean, after you put varnish on it, it's kind of like, I mean, it stands, like, I mean, the elements, like, very well. And this is from, you know, from experience. Like, my paintings were all over the place in Israel, and stood many tortures that they shouldn't have, but I mean, they have, and they not only that they survived, but they actually developed like a huge colony, like all of them developed huge colony of like alien life forms and robots, like in the various oil and acrylic layers. So yeah, it's worth it, like, I mean, to do it, like, I mean, slowly on canvas, and, you know, with primers, and, you know, all the kind of like everything, oil and acrylic, everything that is needed, because even if it doesn't look like very different than what you can do, like, very quickly over paper, you know, with kind of a crayon. So any other, I mean, I assure that, I mean, after some time, I mean, the longer, I mean, it stays, I mean, you see a huge difference. Like, I mean, the material actually, I mean, it's the better material actually is manifested by, I mean, tremendously more time. Like, I mean, it might be obvious to you, but I can tell you that it's both obvious and, I mean, tested by myself. Like, I mean, in the last 2 years that I paint. That, I mean, yes, I mean, if you use like a sturdy materials and varnish and like all the layers as needed, as required, I mean, then the painting lasts like a long time and very well, and stands all sorts of, like, I mean, hardships. So I mean, yes, I mean, I have a couple of hours that, I mean, I'll do it, and I'll also do some microscopic examination in the meantime, mostly of my pee. Like, I have 3 samples here from like the last couple of hours. And also, I should continue with the cookies. Very important. We need, like, to continue with the, you know, the cookies are the the clay, eggs, but with huge amount of material for the various containers. Like, I mean, it's like a super cookie, not like the regular cookies that I've had, like many of these, hundreds of these until now. So if you have any idea, I mean, what can be done, like, I mean, like a bonus for the people that are part of the slaves of the, I should say that I'm not sure that my SO that I mentioned today is falls under this category. Even though, of course, if she does, hopefully, I mean, of course, I'm happy if it applies to remove this shit from her body, this kind of like the bicycle, micro. But I mean, I suspect that she's no longer like, I mean, I suspect that she, I mean, like, it's not exactly the same because it's not exactly the same, but like Lilith from the fairy tale, it's possible to change, like, I mean, your background. I mean, it's not the same kind of change, but I suspect that she moved from the red category to the yellow category. Like, she became Martian. But I mean, it's not for her. Like, I mean, again, nothing is done for one person. It's not a way of the cherubs, like to do it for one, to do something. It's possible. You can certainly, I mean, yes, you can create like this construction for the purpose of like cursing or blessing one person. But very early I understood, like, very, I mean, that, I mean, this, like it was kind of like, I mean, a very strict like message from God that, I mean, this should not be done. Like, even though it's possible to do it, it should not be done because it's not the way of the cherubs. Like, I mean, like to deal with one person. It's never the way of the cherubs. It's always like a rule. That's why you always create at least two. Like, I mean, the minimum construction is made out of two, like, backgrounds. Minimum. Because, I mean, it's always, because if it's two, it means that, I mean, that a generalization is required. And then it applies to everything that falls like under the generalization. And it's always the case. Like, in 100% of the time, it's the case. It's not the way of the cherubs that you do it the other way, even though it's, from the Nero's perspective, it's possible. You can, I mean, it's part of the Nero symbolic language to apply these things to one person, but it's completely not the way of the cherubs. I mean, it should always like be, I mean, applied like to a group. I mean, like, of people, of course, a group that is, every, as they say, group theory, like mathematics, that every group, I mean, corresponds to a trait. Like, a group and a trait are basically, I mean, there is a function, like a one-to-one function between a group and a trait, because a group is defined by all the objects out of, I mean, the universal kind of like, objects that, I mean, have a specific trait. So you need to think of the trait, like, what's the trait? So, yeah, the traitors are, I mean, the traits are the traitors, I mean, presumably the traitors, of course, I mean, these slaves, I mean, they are all, I mean, just to say, they are not titans. I spoke about these kind of like people in the past. They are Homo sapiens, mostly women, because that's what the Mossad likes, but it can be males as well. That just, I mean, trapped by the Shabak or the Mossad to be the slave, like, I mean, to be the slave forever. Israeli ones. And they do it for quite some time. And this is, I mean, one of the worst evil like sins that Israelis are doing for a very long time. And I spoke about it quite a bit. And of course, I mean, it was their kind of like interest that I will marry such a person because they are completely under the control of the state. So, I mean, indirectly, I especially if I become a parent, and that's what happened, I mean, I'm fall under the, indirect, like, control of the state. So, I mean, I thought maybe, give him something, like, I mean, a blessing. So, of course, a blessing would be to remove this microbe. But in actuality, I mean, there aren't many things that you can do in Israel to bless people. Like, I mean, that's why a symbolic language is mostly, like, almost all of it is negative. Like, I mean, is done for cursing. Because, I mean, when you are in Israel, I mean, the best blessing, and many times the only blessing, is to get out. Just get out. Like, I mean, how can you bless me? Just get me out of this hell. I mean, blessing. I mean, what kind of blessing can you give me? I mean, get me out of this hell. I mean, every soul that I have, like poverty, humiliation, disconnection, I mean, the detachment from my daughters, like all of these cruelties and pain, sleepless nights, I mean, so much torture, all of it is happening to me because of the fact that I live in Israel, in this hell. If I would have lived in another place, presumably a place that is not like filled with predators and psychopath creatures, I mean, I wouldn't have all these problems. So, I mean, you don't need to give me special blessings. You just need to get me out of this hell. This, I mean, this is the best and only blessing that I need. But if you have any other kind of, like, I mean, a way to bless like the other creatures. I mean these creatures that were slaves for the Israeli intelligence community for so long. Please tell me. I should say that even this blessing of like removing the bicycle bacteria will not be. I mean, it will not release them from their captivity, because the Israelis can always like reinfect them or do anything they want. Like, because mostly, I mean, their slavery is due to the fact that they are Israeli and nothing can save them. Like, even if they, I mean, magically run away, like, I mean, to another country, I mean, they will be captured by the Israelis over there. The only way to capture, to release such people is the same way that I tell that it's only the only way to release me. Like, I belong to this group in kind of like, not because of my history, or because of the way that they treat me. Like, I mean, the only way to release us is using force, to take us out. You cannot release these people. Like, I mean, whatever you, I mean, because they will always fear the Israelis, and rightly so. I mean, if they just go to another country that didn't like use force to get them out, they will not protect them in where they will be. And the Israelis will just, I mean, recapture them. You know, like it was in, like, you know, in the south, like, you know, the days before the civil war. I mean, you know, captured. I mean, runaway slaves were many times recaptured by, I mean, people that was their job. In the northern countries. Inside the northern countries. So that's why these people require arms and legs to get them out of this hell. And there isn't much blessing that couldn't be done. But I mean, maybe I just do this thing for removing the bicycle, you know, bacteria. Knowing that it can, like, I mean, they can reinfect them as they reinfect me very easily. But what can you do? Not much. Not much. We need to be rescued from this hell. And this should be done using arms and legs, not mouths and tongues. Arms and legs. Of course, needless to say, I mean, the human electrolysis of H2O, this will be applied to anyone who ate like the Neros and have the red blood. Which is basically everyone in Israel, in this world right now, besides me and my family, I guess. Like, I mean, there aren't many yellow ones. Mostly, they are not here. And it should be said that I myself am not like a classic yellow, because it's more complicated than that. Again, the cherubs are not the Martians, as I've said in the previous video. It's not the same thing. Just to clarify. I mean, the Martians are very close to the Venusians, actually. I mean, biologically speaking. Okay, so that will be all for now. If you have any comments, I'll gladly. I mean, I'll read some comments like later. I want to complete this, you know, this background, and maybe. I mean, start like a microscopic examination. It will be interesting.